What's going on, traders? How we doing? Welcome to Start Swing Trade, where we talk about, of course, all the swing trade action and what happened in the market today, what sectors are up, what industries are down. Let's take a look and find underneath the hood where the stocks are going. And today is going to be a day where I'm taking some shots. A lot of trades on, a lot of swings on. I'm going to talk first about the trade to pull swings, and then I'll get into the other ones. I do have two outside of this, but let's get to the action. Let's get right to the stocks here. I'll go ahead and I'll put this as full screen as I can do it for you guys. And you guys see the stocks here. I got American, I got Boeing, I got Best Buy, I have Ulta, I have XRT. So still have about 5 trades on here, right? And I'm looking to see what happens with these. Now they're starting to work in my favor, of course. American is one that I'm just going to hold overnight to see if those can start to get the bounce, but definitely feeling more confident about Boeing as that's gone up to 206 multiple times. I actually have a stop loss set in the green for that one. We'll see what happens on that one. And then XRT. XRT was one that we actually held throughout the weekend and added to it today. I added at 59.60s. Going to look to see if this is going to make a run to 59.80s, close to 59.90s here towards the end of the day. If I could do that, I would take half off and then leave the remainder on for the continued swing. This is what I'm going to be trying to do more and more and showing you guys exactly the ins and the outs. That's what it's all about. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Smash the like if you guys enjoy taking a look into the positioning game. All right, let's keep going, team. I'll go ahead and I'll pull this down. Let's go ahead. We'll see what happens in a little bit there. I'm going to go ahead and bring up my screen now. But like always, guys, you guys can keep up with all this action. Take a look at what I have here. I'm going to go now towards TC so we can look up underneath the hood towards the market. But like always, we can go back to that and maybe take another trade there. Now let's go to the overall market here, the SPY, as we look like we want to continue going. Sideways action after a breakout is not bad to see, right? Qs doing the same thing. Sideways action after a breakout, but not just coming right back down. I think that's very important to catch. Let's go to some of the bigger stocks. Of course, if you guys want to take a look at the leadership, Apple pulling back a little bit today. Microsoft pulling back a little bit today, but Tesla catches the bounce back there to 223s. And then if you take a look around, there's some other ones that were hanging in there. Google was hanging in and going kind of sideways. I feel like this is setting up for maybe having Google make another push higher. Try to fill in this gap. Before we looked into this red gap to fill. Now we're going towards this white gap to go fill that back up to the upside. I think we're clearly getting that move. Now the only thing is, can we get up there towards this low, this 135.11? We'll see if we can get it up there. We've been up here multiple times, and especially the open too. The 136.36 is what I'm going to look for Google to close there. We'll see what happens with these names. And of course, we can take a look at some other action. Today, energy led the market 0.71 as we saw oil come back today. So if you guys were catching the oil move, let's talk a little bit about this. I always talk about looking at WTI, looking at the day's range. We're at 78.53 on the high end to 76.21 on the low end. But where are we closing? We're closing up to the high end there, and that actually stopped me out in a trade. So just to give you guys perspective, out on Valero here for a small loss. It wasn't as big as a loss as I originally kind of risked for it, but this came right back through this high, this 124.24 level. I wasn't going to let it get through that, so I cut it today at 124.22. So not a bad little cut area, just slightly away from this. And then that's one that I definitely got in the red. Also, Mondelez in the red. But let's keep talking about oil as we take a look at some of these oil action. XOM bouncing back and trying to fill the gap. Can it fill the gap? Yeah, I think it could, especially if we see this trend get back into the 80s for crude. Just going to keep an eye out to see if we get that kind of run. But I'll be watching to see what happens there. I'll be watching to see what happens there on XOM to see if we can go ahead and start to get a little bit of a pushback rally on these oil names. And one thing I'll be looking to see if we can get up here towards the 85.50s on XLE. I don't mind taking a shot to the downside on the XLE. Well, let's keep going. Let's get out of energy. Consumer defensives also taking a lift today. And I see Brewers. Yeah, the Brewers making another push higher as AvBev move higher, Bud moving higher. And I know that everybody was hating on Budweiser for their earnings and Bud Light, but look at that, how it started to go. And of course, this really got destroyed when it was down in the lower 50s. I don't know. Is Budweiser a value pick here? Something that I'd think about. TAP coming down there, so we'll see what happens there. Confectioners going higher. Of course, Mondelez was one that I was taking a shot, and I took multiple shots in this one. It just didn't want to turn around, and I'm not going to completely forget it. I took my shot in this one. I'm just going to wait to the day that it actually shows me that weakening. So right now I'm setting an alert at like 68.40s. When I start to see this breakdown, I do want to come after it for a short, but right now it's not going to be the time. And it's okay to admit that, right? And it's okay to come back to the trade afterwards. We'll see what happens on Mondelez and if we can actually get it back above the 69.30s. But let's go ahead. Let's keep up with you guys in the chat. What are you guys taking a look at? Money Mitch is on Venezuelan Standard Time. Oh my God. This is probably the funniest joke of the day. I'm with you, Francis. I know. The key is I got so much here on Benzinga that I try to keep up with, guys. And of course, we got another show right after this that I produce. Like always, guys, trying to move the hats from the producing to the hosting. It's just how it goes right now. But like the comment, though, is pretty funny. What do you think about Netflix? I'll take a look, JD. And Eldon, what's going on? What do you think about that American Airlines trade? I like to let you guys also make opinions on my swings, right? You guys ask me for opinions on your swings all the time. Well, there you have it. Now you guys see some of my action that's going on the market. And you love some Oreos? What about the fudge covered ones? The white fudge covered ones? Oof. Those are pretty good. Those are dangerous. All right, let's get back to the market. Guys, if you guys got stocks, keep throwing them up. We'll keep it going. And like always, hit the like button. Let's get some more people in here. Hit the share button so that we go ahead and grow this up. All right, let's get to the next level. We'll take a look at what else is going on in the markets today. Of course, defensives moving higher. I was going to take a look at discount stores to see how those performed. And you guys can see some of these actually continuing the strength. Walmart continuing the strength up there to 167.82. Ollie's continuing the strength. Look at Costco Go, 579. Looking for a big breakout there. And BJ's has been just hanging around here. And as long as I go to my BJ's, and I just went to my BJ's this weekend, spent, a good $300 there. Put it this way. I don't see it empty. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Could this possibly get a nice little rally back through 72, 74? Doesn't look too bad there. I'll keep an eye on it. Target finishing down and continuing down, and it just looks like Target has been completely broken. It's incredible to me, the separation between Target and Walmart, but definitely, and they're still not liking Target. We'll leave that alone for here. All right, packaged foods, another area that we got to definitely keep on watch. Of course, we saw your farm product stocks move today with that Tyson. Tyson, though, continuing down. It did bounce a little bit. It bounced out the gate all the way to 49 and then came smacking back down. That's the hardest part of trading lately, is that even when we get these bad reports, they bounce back and then they sink right back. That's going to be a very hard trade to keep up with. This is why I sometimes let earnings kind of, just kind of settle in, right? Give them a couple days to see where the stock goes, and then you can take your shots. All right, let's see what else is going on in the market here. Of course, those are kind of farm products. Let's get out of the defensive area. Healthcare getting a little bit of a lift. And I saw mentions that Pfizer wanted to get into the weight loss drug. This is actually taking a hit right now, but that's just something to think about. As you're seeing more and more move into that space, what will happen? Lilly with a move back to 615. Look at the moves on the daily charts. And this is where you got to be careful. This is where I'd say keep your eyes on Lilly on a weekly chart, looking for pullbacks to kind of the 9 weekly EMA, and then looking for those pullbacks to kind of hold. That's exactly what we've got already here on Monday, starting well from 578 up there towards a high of 618. We'll see if it eventually gets through the 620 area. Other stock that did well in this space, NVO, of course, the healthcare ones and the weight loss drug ones are definitely getting a little bit of a bounce. Will this continue to go? I don't know about that one. NBS getting a little bit of a bounce, but I don't think this has enough strength to just keep pushing, but industrials did keep pushing today. And let's get into that action there. Let's see what led the industries, because that's where I always start with. And what do I find here? Airlines, of course. And this is why I'm taking my shots in the airlines. I did get out of save. So I had two swings on and I had to determine, do I wanted to keep save? I was still just slightly above because I went back into this one and was looking to see if this was going to make the move. I kind of just stuck with the American Airlines one, but I'm still thinking about this save, right? This is an opportunity. It's a stock that's definitely beaten down, super hit on the RSI, could start bouncing back. Needs some good news, though. That it definitely does. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what happens on that save trade. And you can also be looking at the other week one, which is JetBlue down at $4. So I definitely keep my eye on both of these and watch out to see if the airlines start pushing. What got me into the airlines? Well, I saw Leisure taking a nice little lift there. RCL, CCL, some of those names. So I wanted to take a little bit of a shot there. Of course, airlines continuing to the upside. You guys can keep watch on other names in this space: aerospace and defense, heavy and farm and heavy construction. Sorry about that, guys. CAT also getting a little bit of a bounce. Deere in the red. That's interesting to see those names kind of conflicting. And Picard pulling back and staying in the red from the open. It is pushing, but could pull back. XLI is one way to kind of keep your eyes on this. Will the XLI strength continue? You guys can see how it's really starting to push. At some point, it could hit the resistance and turn back around. But as of late, it's been pretty hot. All right, let's get to the cyclical area. And this is more where I'm taking my shots in what? In retail, right? I talked about the XRT trade for a while. I'm continuing to try to play this. This has pulled back on the daily. Want this to really kind of close, especially up there towards like 59.65 and 59.75s. That'd be a great outlook to catch here. And of course, we can also take a look at what's hot in this space, right? O'Reilly's has been hot as of late. Take a look at the daily chart as O'Reilly just completely taking off here. And it looks like, O'Reilly's is the place to get your auto parts, because that's going to continue. And what does that show me? Shows me more and more that the auto manufacturers better watch out, because the demand that's going to come in this space is looking like it's going to tumble. And what stocks would affect that? Of course, you're talking your Tesla, your Ford, your GM, even your Rivian. That's why I don't like auto manufacturers for 2024. Even if you get the slightest pop back, it doesn't mean that this space is going to be a space that is going to be loved next year. And of course, why would they be looking at the auto parts? Because they want to keep their used cars and not go paying up for those high end, especially the EVs. Man, those things are out of the water, let's just say, in pricing. You can't even get after it. Those are not mid-class vehicles, guys. The mid-class was not intended to have $40,000 to $60,000 cars. They were intended to more have, and this was at some point. I don't think this will ever happen again, but I still remember you used to being able to get like let's say a Toyota Corolla for like 15, 16,000, maybe even lower, maybe even like at a 14 or 12,000. That'll never happen again. But where's the middle class go now? Do we pay $30,000 a vehicle, 40,000? I'll tell you right now, if we're in the 50s, I don't think that's going to be the middle class. Let's just be honest. All right, let's keep going. You guys can see also what has been leading. Of course, AutoZone leading that nice little big lift. And these are the two stocks leading the retail game. So I'm going to continue to watch those stay strong. That's AZO and O'Reilly's, of course. Casey's getting a nice little lift. Ollie's showing up there. Advanced Auto Parts. So it looks like all those are getting the push there. Costco pushing higher. Those are definitely keeping this in some good strength. And another one, of course, that I took, Ulta. Let's take a look at this one. This is a swing pattern also. I wanted to hold the 390s, get back above the 400 and start to push. Where could I see this push to? I could see this eventually going even up there towards 422s and 430s. So if Ulta can make that move, I'm going to give it a shot there. And this is one that I'll definitely give it the room to keep pushing, but at the same time, cut it if I need to. I have an entry there at 388.22. Let's see what happens, team. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what other names kind of get the lift. ODP is another one that is a specialty retail company that is pushing today, but just some that I'm keeping in mind. And I did hear about the Overstock deal. Did you guys see that? How Overstock became kind of the Beyond, Bed Bath and Beyond stock. So just keep your eyes out that if we do see something like that show up, it's going to be a little bit of a story to talk about. That's for sure. Let's keep going. Let's get out of the cyclicals. What was on the downside today? Utilities on the downside today and definitely taking a hit as these come right back down. That's why the XLU looks nice for the shorts, right? And Duke looks good for the shorts and other areas here. Even Hawaii Electric. People have forgotten about this one, but it looks like the shorts didn't forget about it because they just let it kind of sideways. Now it's heading to 1148s. This looks like it wants to head into the single digits. We'll see what happens there on Hawaii Electric. Yeah, did you hear about that Overstock move? That's an interesting one. It's a weird change there to see Overstock change like that. But it's definitely something to kind of keep an eye out for. Look how it's on the pinks now. I don't know what happened there with Overstock. I got to look into it and what happened to the stock itself. Is it still around? Did it go to a different name? And then keep an eye on names like this. I'll be watching this. Bath and Body Works. Victoria's Secret has been hot as of late. Now pulling back here to the 1886. Let's see if this gets hot tomorrow. I'll keep an eye on it, especially if it wants to come back into the 19 pricing. We'll see what happens there on Victoria's Secret. All right, let's keep going, team. We could talk a little bit about real estate pulling back. Communication services were hot and hot. Where did this turn around? Because Verizon was looking strong out the gates. Look at that move in Verizon. Now turning right back down. This is where it gets hard because really that's kind of a real trappy type of move there. I'm going to draw the hourly to where I see it, but if it can't hold this level, this pullback towards like 35.70s and gets back below, let's say 35.50s, yeah, watch out below. This can turn around and in a heartbeat. We'll see what happens there. Actually, we'll set an alert there to let me know when's the next time the Verizon breaks down through there. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what else is being called out in the chat. If you guys got a shot or any stock you guys want to take a look at, Wayfair is one that's being brought up there. And this is one that I would be a little bit careful in the holiday period and Black Friday period shorting because it could get some good numbers in the Black Friday period. Now, do I feel that Wayfair is a short? Yes, I do think it is a short. The only question is, when do you get it, right? Right now, it's in the middle of the pricing, if not on the lower end. Now, if this was back at like, let's say 70s and I could see multiple tops in that area, yeah, that seemed a lot better, right? But that's a little bit of hindsight 2020. But I like to short near the resistance moves where you could see here, the resistance was trying to show up here and then it rejected that. This was like a head and shoulders outlook, but right now you're kind of in the middle. So for right here, I'd be leaving it alone, but that's just me, Gerard. If you like it here, what I would be at least leaning on myself is looking for like kind of this 46 to hold. Anything back above this resistance, and it could go to this resistance here, which is around the 48.74s, and just start going with sideways action there. That would be a little bit concerning to me. And then, of course, you're going to have some Black Friday sales. That's another reason why I'm going to Best Buy and trying to come after this one, because if it could really get the lift and start turning around, well, maybe it can get a little bit of some kind of Black Friday lift. We'll see what happens on that one. All right, guys, keep throwing up tickers. I'll keep grabbing them in the chat. If you're new to the show and you guys are just tuning in, what's up out there? Say hello in the chat. I always like to talk to you guys. And of course, take a look at some of the stocks that you guys are watching in the market. All right, let's see what else stocks are making a move there. I'm looking around even at the smaller names to see if there's any of those that are making the moves. I don't see too much out there. Just be careful out there, traders. All right, let's get out to some of the bigger names and see what happened with some of the Qs. Of course, the Qs kind of just going sideways here. So not the biggest day there, but Lucid getting a little bit of a lift there. Tesla getting a little bit of a lift. I could see these pushing for a little bit, maybe Tesla, but would I get in a trade for Lucid? No, not by any shot. EMPH up here. is looking good here for me for a short, but I actually got hit on this earlier today, and now you're starting to see the turnaround. And the reason why I kind of like it here is that there's a lot of topping in the 79s, and you slightly went over that. Now starting to pull back. This actually doesn't look too bad there for me. The big thing there is I got to risk about 50 cents up towards 79. So I'm willing to take the shot. I just have to take it small here. Let me see if I can get a little bounce above the 78.50s here. Let's see if I can get this, guys. This actually doesn't look too bad there to maybe take a little bit of a shot. This is technology to the downside and solar names to the downside, but EMPH got a huge little bounce as of late. Got up back up there to the 78s. I don't know. There might not be enough on here. And so it might be better for me to be going and looking at like a first solar. But you know what? I'll leave it to the sideline for now. I'll take some stocks from you guys here. Let's go to DraftKings. Take a look at that one. I will bring up something with DraftKings right after this. So stick around, team. All right, let's take a look. It's 3:57. I don't have much time to talk about this, but DraftKings has been hot. And let's not forget what comes out on the 15th. I've been talking about it right here, only on Start Swing Trade. And that's, of course, what? Disney Bet, ESPN Bet coming out on the 15th. So will Disney get the lift off of that? I was looking for a pullback on Disney today, and boy, oh boy, did I miss out an opportunity there. And I can even show you guys it. You guys see it right there. I drew this when? Right there on 9:30 to 10:45, was looking at this to try to see a little bit of a pullback into the space and then take the shot on the 15-minute. And boy, did it pull back and give me that opportunity right around this 88.25 and then went up there towards the 89.80s. I think this will get a little bit of a pop and then a drop. So we'll see what happens with the betting action. But this is something to keep an eye out. You can also keep watch on Penn. But I feel like Penn has already made the move. That's where I'd be a little bit careful. Is this more a sell the news now as it gets to the 15th? All right, CGC, Sundial. Those look like names that you want to stick around for, Gerard. So what I would tell you, if you want to talk about Sundial and you want to talk about canopy growth, stick right here on Benzinga. Coming up next, you have the Trade to Black podcast, which covers cannabis, Web3, and also the psychedelic space. They'll be talking specifically about some of these stocks. So why not go over there, Gerard, and ask them? I'm telling you, these guys are the experts. Go check them out. The Dales Report, that's coming up next. Starts at 4:10 p.m. Eastern. So stick around, team. We got a lot more for you right here on Benzinga. All right, let's see what else is going in the market. It looks like we are seeing a little bit of decline here. It's about 359. Any other ones that I want to take a shot on? I don't think so. I'm just going to hold what I have. I have XRT. I have Ulta. I have Best Buy. I have Boeing. Boeing's coming down a little fast here. So a little part of me is thinking about taking the money and running in Boeing. But that's just my mentality because it's a little bit higher. Yeah, I might just take Boeing off here. I have a stop place there on Boeing right underneath it. There you guys have it. I'm out of the Boeing trade just because of the way it's looking here for overnight. Of course, this boosted a little bit too high. So I really wanted to see a takeoff. I did take first profits in Boeing today, so I'm not mad about that. But taking that off there, Boeing just took it off there as it started to decline. I'll stick with the 4 positions that I'm in. So I'm not going to be mad about these. I have American, Best Buy, Ulta, and XRT. We'll find out what happens on those tomorrow. Like always, guys, you guys can catch that on live trading. Coming up next, you guys, of course, have the Dales Report. That's going to get into some interesting action. And, of course, will the CPI break the rally? Stick around, team. We'll talk all about that coming up. And then, of course, tomorrow morning on PreMarket Prep, let's see what happens with the CPI. I don't expect any surprises in the CPI. I just don't expect it showing that it's coming down. And that's something that you guys don't want to miss out. All right, catch the talk on that. That'll be tomorrow, of course, on PreMarket Prep. Coming up next, you guys have the Dales Report, so don't go anywhere. I'll see you guys in just a minute. That starts up in a little bit less than 10 minutes. I'll see you there.